I'm Brent. I've been working in the film industry for over a decade, building software for artists. In this video, we're going to talk about breaking into the animation/VFX industry. Let's get to the content. Before we can get to my advice, I think we need to set the stage with what the state of the industry really is right now. It wasn't too long ago that we all got stuck in a pandemic, and everyone was stuck alone and tended to watch a lot of content. The industry reacted and started making more content to fill the desires of people. The world started opening up, and that made it so that it was easier for there to be on-set production. And so more of that happened. But then we had the writers and actors strike, and basically all of Hollywood shut down for a long time. Since the pandemic started, movies haven't been doing very well in the box office, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot of visibility into how well most of the big film companies are doing when it comes to streaming. And there's been this huge contraction in the industry. I know that half of my friends who work in the industry have lost their jobs over the last 1 or 2 years. It's been really tough. Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks have all had layoffs. I know that the market is currently flooded with veterans trying to find work. For every job that is available, you have tons of veterans applying for it, and it's making it so that the hiring process is taking a lot longer. There's just too many qualified applicants for these jobs. And so for especially new people to the industry, it's that much harder to break in. I know this can sound really depressing, but what can you do? In my opinion, getting into the industry is based on 5 things. So let's talk about them. Starting with timing. So I decided back in college in my freshman year that I wanted to go work for DreamWorks after I saw a talk that they were giving on the flight sequences from How to Train Your Dragon. And I spent the next 4 years trying to break into the industry. So I understand that it takes time to break into the industry. And a big part of breaking into the industry is being there at the right time. What is my advice when it comes to timing? Well, my advice is to don't blow through all of your savings just holding out for an industry job. Get a stable job that you can have while you are looking around and applying for industry jobs. Number 2, persistence. So I can tell you that when I was applying to try and get internships and full-time positions in the industry when I was in college, it was really rough. I got to a point where I was talking to my thesis advisor about giving up on computer graphics, just completely picking an area of computer science to move my study to because I know that I could more easily get a job. I was lucky in that my thesis advisor told me to hold out, that things would get better. And she was right. It was only a couple of months from then that I landed my internship at Sony Pictures Imageworks. So my advice when it comes to persistence is if getting a job in the industry is that important to you and it really is a dream of yours, then go for it and just keep at it. If you keep improving and you keep pushing to try and get a job, eventually you will. Just don't give up. Number 3 is connections. I know you have probably heard it over and over again that connections are so important, and you may not have any. And I totally get that. I was not born to rich parents who had a ton of connections. The connections that I got that helped break me into the industry came from me being connected to people at school, specifically my thesis advisor, who were connected to people who work in the industry. And what helped a lot with that is that I lived close to LA, where most of the industry is. So my advice is that if you can, you should move close to where an industry hub is. So move to Los Angeles or New York or some of the other hubs in other countries. Okay, but moving there isn't enough. The next thing you need to do is network. And trust me, I hate networking. I am an introvert and I want to pull my hair out anytime that I feel that I need to be networking. I'm going to tell you the introvert's way of networking. And what you need to do is you need to meet people in the industry. But how do you meet people in the industry? Well, one of the best ways is being in that industry hub and then going and meeting people through your hobbies. I have met so many people in the industry across different areas of the industry just by being in Los Angeles and going and doing the hobbies that I already like in my free time. I have met most of the best friends that I have in Los Angeles just by doing my hobbies in Los Angeles and making connections. Number 4 is qualifications. This is going to vary depending on what your job is that you are trying to look for in the industry. So it's kind of hard to give very specific advice, but I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. Number 1 is make it as easy as possible for the people that are hiring you to find the information that they care about. So this means making your resume as specific to the job that you are looking for and making sure that the important things that they care about are very easy to find. So how do you know what those things are that are important to them? Look at the job description. That will have a lot of what is important to them already. The other thing that you can do is ask someone who works in that area or around that area. And if you don't know anyone in your job area, then search online as best you can. And lastly, number 5 is luck. I know that there is a lot that we can't control about the job hiring process and breaking into the industry, and you just have to accept that. But when it comes to luck, I like to lean on a quote that my volleyball coach used to say a lot. Fortune favors the brave. So do the scary thing, put yourself out there, just do it. I know things are really hard right now, but with a combination of timing, persistence, connections, qualifications, and luck, you can get into the industry. I know you can. Thank you for watching. If there's a topic that you would like me to cover, please consider putting it down in the comments. I'm always looking for more ideas for videos. If you got value out of this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more like it, please consider subscribing. And like all software made for movies, we test in production. Thank you, and I'll see you around.